told us, كِتَابٌ أَنزَلْنَاهُ مُبَارَكٌ. Why? لِيَدَّبَّرُوا آيَاتِهِ. That is the purpose of the Qur'an, so you can connect to it. So inshallah, today we're going to be transitioning to something absolutely amazing. So far we've been talking about Tadabbur part A, which is to do with, and I'll explain what we discussed so far. Part A of Tadabbur, how to connect to Qur'an. We said the goal from Qur'an ultimately is to understand and apply it. That is the purpose why it was sent, not just to read it and tajweed and all that. Next one is to prepare the heart for it. The Qur'an, it is one of the shifa, the cure of the heart, of all diseases. It is a form of tazkiyah, of the heart purification. It'll give you that peace and tranquility, the tuma'nina that Allah talk about it. It is, when you do this type of tadabbur, it will increase your iman and yaqeen and certainty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the goal from tadabbur is to follow the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and stay away from prohibition. Is applying the lessons from the stories. When you hear story of Adam, story of Yusuf, story of Noah, all that story is not for entertainment. It's for us to apply them in our life. We talk about self-assessment and self-accountability. When you read Qur'an, it'll give you, it's a way to gauge yourself, where you are with respect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How far are you? We talked about identify the path toward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us how to get to Him. And the path to Him, inshallah, is the path to Al-Jannah. We discussed how this Qur'an can soften the heart. Wallahi, it can soften the heart. And if heart is hard, the Qur'an cannot go in there, cannot penetrate. So Qur'an is not only, it cleans the heart, but it's also soften it, and it put that nur, that guidance in it. And also it helps you with rich khushu' when you read the Qur'an. Khushu' in salat, khushu' outside salat, it'll give you that sense of the awe, subhanahu wa ta'ala, when you read the Qur'an. Next one, it'll improve your own character. As the Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, hadith and Aisha, she said, كَانَ خُلُقُهُ الْقُرْآن. What does that mean? That means he used to be Qur'an in action. So if you want to have the character of the Prophet ﷺ, read Qur'an and follow the command. And next thing we talk about it for last 2 weeks, is how to make dua when you read Qur'an. And we said when you come across an ayah about Jannah, make a dua, stop for a second, don't rush, and ask Allah to make you among people of Jannah. When you go through the character that Allah loves, character of believer, muhsineen, mu'mineen, stop and said, Ya Allah, make us among them. That's how you reflect with the Qur'an. Part 2, we're going to talk about it starting tonight. And next week, it's going to be my favorite part of this whole tadabbur. This part here, it's called intellectual tadabbur. And a lot of brothers keep asking me, brothers, can you talk about the original word? Can you talk about the derivative of the word? Can you talk about this? Can you talk about the grammar? This is what I'm going to be talking about. So don't get intimidated. I'm going to make it simple, but it's going to be one of the gems. It's called the gems in Qur'an. It is my own favorite one. So let me explain what we're going to do. The first thing is you need to have curiosity. What does that mean? When you read Surah Al-Fatiha and you hear Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, you should ask, why did Allah said Alhamdulillah? There is many ways of saying Alhamdulillah. He could have said Inna Alhamdulillah, like you hear in Jumu'ah every day. Or he could have said Ahmadullah, right? There's many ways. Why did he say Alhamdulillah? That's something I'm going to explain, inshallah, next week. I'm going to tell you what is some of the secrets in the whole Qur'an like that. So, like I said, this is my favorite part. So one of the things we're going to do, if you notice when I do tafsir, I'll focus sometime on a word and derivative and some of the gem in it, and then I'll explain. I use the other tadabbur, which is reflection. What is Qur'an is telling us? What is the action? How can I apply it? That's how you do tafsir. That's how you tafsir. Okay. Next one, critical thinking. Critical thinking, it doesn't mean you criticize Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Critical thinking, you should ask, why this Surah Al-Fatiha was the first chapter? What can it be Surah Ikhlas? Surah Ikhlas is considered third of the Qur'an. Why didn't Allah start with Surah Al-Fatiha first? We're going to explain that. Why does it call Ummul Kitab? I'm going to explain that. Because once you understand that, it's going to make you absolutely love Qur'an. And the purpose of this tadabbur is really to explain the miracle of the Qur'an. And it's going to shut the mouth of all the critic, all the one that said Qur'an is just a bunch of words and phrases thrown together, and there is no sense of it. You can't even follow it. We don't know what is this, what is ayahs doing here, why Allah was talking about this and jump to this. We're going to explain all that. Next one, pay attention to the word and the structure of each surah. Now, Surah Al-Baqarah, everybody Surah Al-Baqarah. Why did Allah call it Baqarah? There's many animals out there. Why did He call it Baqarah? What does Baqarah has to do with the surah? Wait, we're going to explain that. Next one, pay attention to similarity and repetition. Similarity and repetition. What does that mean? You know, Sheikh Ramadan read one of the verse, وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهَا إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَظَلُومٌ كَفَّارٌ. Surah Ibrahim. I want you to go to Surah Al-Nahl and find the same phrase. وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهَا. Who can tell me what's come after that? Go ahead now. Go to your app and find me. Tell me what does it say. وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهَا. In Surah Al-Nahl, what did He say? إِنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. Why did He say إِنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ in Surah Al-Nahl? But in Surah Ibrahim, He said what? إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَظَلُومٌ كَفَّارٌ. Insan is truly ungrateful, right? Is truly ungrateful. But in Surah Nahl, He said Allah is all forgiven. Why? I'm going to explain that. This is the kind of critical thinking when you read Quran. A good command of Arabic language and rhetoric. That means al-balagha. I don't expect you to know this. Alhamdulillah, Allah blessed me that I took college and I took a lot of advanced Arabic and grammar and balagha and all that. I'm still considered minor, tiny students. But I learned enough to be able to explain some of the balagha, some of the eloquency in Quran. But I'm still a student of knowledge. But I will explain to you some of the amazing word and how Allah used one phrase. So if I took one phrase from Quran, let's say إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ, that cannot go to any surah. Every verse in every surah belongs to the surah only. If you take that verse and put it somewhere else, it doesn't belong. You understand? Okay. Connection between surah. We'll talk about that also. What is the connection with surah to surah? There is like the whole Quran is like one phrase, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wallahi, it's amazing. Fatiha is connected to Baqarah. Baqarah is connected to Ali Imran. Ali Imran. They all connected. And I'll explain how they are connected. There's many books written about that. Next one, pay attention to the context of each surah. This is where the enemy of Islam comes. They're going to come to you and say, look, Allah said, kill them wherever you find them. Have you heard that? From Surah Tawbah. Kill them wherever you find them. They take the ayah and they run with it. And they're like, see, Islam is very bad. It is violent. Look what he said. Blah, 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 blah. Because they take things out of context. You have to understand when you take a verse and trying to explain it, please, you need to understand the context of the ayah. The before and after, why did Allah said what He said? Right? I'll give you an example. In Surah Al-Naml versus Surah Al-Qasas, I'm going to explain this in future, inshallah. When Surah Al-Naml, Musa alayhi salam was in sort of secure in power. He wasn't in like he was in Surah Al-Qasas. After he killed that man and he was in fear and he's running away. The whole Surah Al-Qasas has one theme, one context is about the fear. Right? And the word that was chosen in Surah Al-Naml, they're not the same in Surah Al-Qasas. They're not the same. right? So I'm going to explain all that because it's all about context and the theme of the surah. It also decide which word and which verse Allah will place in that surah. Next one is contrasts and similarity between stories. I'll share with you a lot of stories of that. My favorite one is always between Musa and Yusuf. What are the similarities? One of them, right, he left his father. One of them, his mother threw him in the river. Where's the connection? There's a lot of connection between Surah Yusuf and Surah Qasas, Surah Musa. So you'll find stories like that, and I'll share that with you. And there's many similarities between Musa alayhi salam and the Prophet alayhi salam. They also have a lot of similarity. Both have done migration. Both have gone through so many challenges and so forth. The next thing, which is one of my favorites, is the cohesiveness with each surah. Cohesiveness means, it's called a nadam. That means the ayah comes after ayah, comes after ayah. I'll give you an example. Check this out. Ayat Kursi, everybody read Ayat Kursi, right? Why did Ayat Kursi came in Surah Al-Baqarah in that spot exactly? And why does Allah talk about Sanabil, right? He talk about charity. He's talking then a story about Allah creation and so forth, At-Tawheed. Where is Surah Ayat Kursi 255 came in Surah Al-Baqarah in that spot? Is because there is cohesiveness, connection with other surah, and that's why it's placed right there. It doesn't belong to any surah. If you take it and place it in surah, it doesn't belong there. That's what the beauty about Qur'an. The next one, and this is something I'm going to be honest with you, is you have to be very determined to understand and satisfy your curiosity. Satisfy your curiosity. There is one ayah in Surah Al-Qasas. It's about the night and day, and it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, if I made the day long, can you create night? Or if I create the day, night forever, can you go and create a day? Right? That phrase, it took me a month to figure out what it says. I've been thinking about it, night and day. Why did Allah said this and he finished with this? Why did Allah say this? It's like Saba, right? الحمد لله الذي له ما في السماوات وله الحمد في الآخرة وهو العزيز الغفور وهو العزيز الغفور. Then he said, you know, in whole Quran is Ghafur Rahim. Everybody know that. Ghafur Rahim. Except Saba, Ar-Rahim al-Ghafur. Go look it up. In Saba, that's the only time he said, he doesn't say Ghafur Rahim, he said Rahim al-Ghafur. Why did he say that? You have to ask, you have to be curious, and you have to ask. And if you come across those things, bring them here. Bring them to our lecture. We're going to explain some of that gems. So the goal, ya ikhwani, from the next part 2, I'm going to very close right now, is increase our love to Qur'an and, of course, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is part 2. Appreciate the beauty and miracle of Qur'an. This is one of the goals of this part B. Increase our iman. The more you appreciate Quran, the more you love Quran, the more your iman will increase. You were like, there's no way this Quran can be made by a human being. Has to be from Allah, right? It will just give you more and more appreciation. It will improve your Arabic grammar and balagha. It will improve more vocabulary. It will increase your khushu' and salat when reading and listening to Quran. It will actually help you get to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a deeper level. And finally, to increase your own attachment to Quran. So next week, we're going to practice everything we've done, part A and part B in Surah Al-Fatiha. Please, tell your friend, tell your family to join us. Because this is the Fatiha we read. And it's going to be probably part A and part B. I'm going to explain everything we learn about Tadabbur. I'm going to explain all these challenges, part B, and intellectual, to ask the question, why this ayah? What is this doing here? What is that doing here? What is Allah said that? And so forth. So please join me. Inshallah. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله ولكم فاستغفروه. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. جزاكم الله خير. السلام عليكم. وإياكم. Salam.